What's up, guys? Welcome back to Unstoppable Library. My name is Robbie Jenkins, and my co-host, Christopher Moreno. What's up?
What's up?
So our goal with this show and company is to introduce you to the ideas, people, and products to help you become unstoppable in your life and in business. So today, I have a great guest, one of my longtime friends. His name is Bryce Harkey. He was a former pro motocross rider. Now he is an iron worker. Gonna become a firefighter soon to be, but he has an amazing story. I am excited to share with you guys his story and help you guys become unstoppable in your life. There's a ton of things we could pick out and learn from this. So yeah, I'm excited to share you guys the story. With that being said, welcome, Bryce.
Right on, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Welcome.
So nice. I mean, to start it off, I want to go back to kind of how we met, and even starting into your racing career. I mean, you were homeschooled at like junior year?
Yeah, I started junior, senior year. The high school wasn't really working with me, so just so much time off with racing and everything. We had no choice. We didn't want to do it. Some of the kids never even been to school and racing motocross, but I wanted to stay in school as long as I could, and we were forced to go that route. So
nice.
Really? I didn't know that. A lot of people that are like serious about motocross from being younger, they don't go to high school.
They don't go to school at all. I mean, it's a sport that you start, at like 4 years old, and then you're traveling the country, with your parents in a trailer RV.
And that's what you did.
What? Yeah, I did it later in life. We had a later start. I got serious about it. At age 12.
Yeah. So. What age did you start motocross?
Well, I mean, I rode in the desert, with family and stuff, with tracks here and there, and then playing soccer at the time. So it was like a weekend thing, just having fun with it. And then at age 12, I decided to quit soccer and just go, this is what I want to do for a living, or a career.
Yeah.
And, that's when I put my head down and started putting the work in and, and
so your dad was just like, yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, he basically told me, it's like, here, however far you want to take it, I'll support you, and
really
basically go with it.
Keith, awesome man, dude.
So I mean, it was a huge deal on his part and the whole family part, because I mean, really, it's a whole family affair. I mean, everyone has to support each other. It's parents. My mom would take me when I was in school. My mom would pick me up from school, take me out to all the tracks out in Riverside and Inland Empire. And then we'd swap trucks.
It's like an hour trip.
Yeah, and
just to go to the track.
Yeah, we'd swap trucks. My mom would have the bike in the back, and we'd put it in the back of my dad's truck, and then we'd go out, ride at night, till 8 o'clock at night, come home, finish my homework, and then
and you're 12 at the time.
Yeah, I was at 12. Yeah,
that's when you started.
Yeah, and then I, progressively, got more and more into it, and then it was just head deep.
Wow. It was off to the races from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like literally, I remember meeting Bryce. I might have been like 8th grade or something like that. I forget, through like mutual friends. And he raced. I, rode in the desert. Nothing too crazy, but like I always thought it was cool. Like this kid races and all that stuff. And he was a cool kid. So we started hanging out. And then, yeah, like, I mean, what was it, during high school and stuff? You were like super involved in it. I mean, you would go to the track, and then we would go to the gym and stuff after you'd go to the track, and then you pretty much went home. You went homeschooled and said, "I'm not coming to school," and that was it, right? Like every day you're at the track, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was pretty much we'd ride like 4 to 5 days a week, and that was when I was homeschooled. When I was going to school, we'd still ride 4 days a week. And, I say we because it was a whole family, because, you always have to have someone there in case something does go bad. You never know, it is a dangerous sport, and that's, another thing, part of it. But, whether my dad and my mom, and, it was a crazy deal.
What did your parents do for a living? I'm curious.
My dad was an iron worker. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. And so, when I was homeschooled, it was actually really beneficial, because she was able to go to the track with me and everything. So, that's where I am now, so I'm a 3rd generation iron worker. So it's kind of, all ties in together.
Nice.
That foundation was solid though. Like you 100% need that. Like there's no way you can do it alone. I mean, like even prepping the bike and getting it ready, like it takes a lot of work to do that. And like the thing that blows my mind is like they would literally go to the track. Your mom would probably like pack lunches, help out, like get everything ready, right? Because you're there like all day. You're an hour away from home. You don't have anything. And then you come home, you break your bike down, wash it, get it ready for tomorrow, which takes another, hour or so. And then he would go to the gym, work out, and do it all over again tomorrow. Like
Would you break your bike down, like he's saying?
Well, yeah, that was towards the end of the, when I wasn't in school, but when I was in school, during that whole time, my dad was gnarly. I mean, it was go to the track, come home 9 o'clock at night. He would go in the garage, work on the bike, get it ready. I mean, sometimes we'd blow up bikes and he'd take a motor out of one, put in another one. So I'd have a bike to ride, the next day, and then he'd go to work at 4 or 5 in the morning. It's like,
so he's up all night building a motor swapping a motor.
Oh yeah.
And then
it was nuts, and luckily we had good neighbors, because I mean, at the time you build a motor together and then you got to start it, so at midnight you're starting a motorcycle up in the garage, revving it up, and it's quiet and waking people up. But
at what age did you start working on the bike?
I mean, I worked on them, my whole life, what I could, I was always out there in the garage with him, so when I could, and when I have to do homework. But so I learned at a young age, and it was one of the things I was always engaged with, so when I could, help out, I would. And
I ask because, man, I grew up off-roading since I was like 4 or 5, and one, that father-son time, I don't think people get that anymore. Fathers probably make the excuse like, oh, I'm too busy, and then there's no hobbies anymore. But like, what are you gonna play games with your son?
Right.
And like your game breaks, are you gonna fix your game console? Like, nobody works on cars. Guys our age don't know how to fix a flat. Like, that's why I ask, because for me, going off-roading, fixing things on the fly, dealing with, damn, my bike broke, I got a flat going off-roading, like that's small adversity in the grand scheme of things, but it's a big deal when you're in it, right? If you got a flat or something and you had to come home, like you're either going to pout or I'm going to go home and fix it. So just that small, and that's what a lot of the things that we talk about through a lot of things when we talk to people is just adversity. So you've had to go through adversity, and I respect dirt bike riders because I watch a lot of stuff on Instagram, and I hope my kids get on dirt bikes when they're kids because they fall, things aren't as big of a deal. You know what I mean? So
they get back up, and
you going through dirt bike riding, you can go through maybe, and you don't know my story with, the beginning of our podcast, but things aren't going to be as big of a deal for you. You know what I mean? Because you've gone through, you getting injured to fixing dirt bikes, and it's that adversity that is pretty cool. And then that relationship that he got with his dad, your relationship with your dad's still pretty awesome.
Yeah, we're good.
That's cool, man.
We used to go, what was cool too is like back in the day, we'd mountain bike ride, and we go, like we hit the Fullerton Loop or other, places. His dad would go with us, and be right there with us, literally. Sorry guys, alarm. But be right there with us training, like he's super competitive guy. Like,
he won't. That was like throughout my whole childhood. He never let us win.
Yeah,
he teaches us a lesson, so he wouldn't let us win, even if we were younger. He didn't care. So, and I'm thankful for that because it made me who I am today. And I know you're gonna relate back to that mountain bike ride, or not mountain bike ride, but the bike ride we went down to the beach.
Died?
Yeah, it was like 55 miles. And at the time
you guys rode 55 miles one way or two way?
It doesn't seem like a lot to people that like cycle and all that stuff, but granted, we're on mountain bikes and they have knobby tires. We don't cycle at all. This is like a let's go out for a beach ride. We're gonna go to the beach and back. Probably we were like 16 or something, 15 maybe.
Yeah. Aside from all that, bro, whether you compare it to people that are bicyclists and 55 miles ain't anything, you put a 16-year-old to ride 2 miles, right? Yeah. 16-year-olds nowadays. So that's a trip. Like you guys were 55. Were you guys like pissed at dad?
Oh, dude. Well, we were just tired, done. Like
at the time, we were using, I was like cross training, because Robbie was there training with me at the gym and bikes. We were literally like, every day we're doing something, active. So it was like, all right, let's go ride back and forth to the beach. So we get down to the beach and we're like, all right, that wasn't that bad. Let's go farther, So we're like Seal Beach, just go to Newport, right to Newport. And we're like, all right, that's pretty good. Let's start making our way home. You know, we are like dead tired at this point. It was all good going there.
Yeah.
But then you realize, oh,
we got to make it back.
Yeah.
And then we take Beach Boulevard all the way home, you know.
We had like breakfast first.
Yeah.
We had breakfast down in Newport, and then we wwere coming back. We're like full tired, but
dead tired. We were like suicidal at the point, running red lights, you know, don't even have a care.
We almost got hit a couple times, like bad. Yeah, it was terrible. We got back and we were just dust.
Yeah, and me and Robbie wanted to quit, but you know, we see my dad, you know, he's right there with us and hanging in, and he knows
crushing it.
Yeah, he knows he's not going to let us win, so he puts the hammer down and, you know, make it back. Cool.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah, no. I think that's awesome. Like the support that you had through that whole experience was insane. I mean, we barely even touched the surface with it, just because like you spoke on adversity, and I kind of wanted to dive into it, because I'm not even joking. I've never seen someone like, I feel like I was with you. I mean, your parents obviously were with you more and all that stuff, but being your friend, seeing what you've gone through, like, dude, it was heartbreaking for me, man. Like you went through some shit, and to get back on the bike after, you know, having a crash, being hurt, and then, you know, being out for 6 months, and then getting back on the bike and doing it all over, like working back up, like it's a process. And he went through the process time in and time, you know what I mean? Yeah. But like, what was like your first injury really that happened? I mean,
well, my first one would probably have to be
the shoulder,
the first like big significant one would be getting crashing and getting flown out in Texas. You know, that was definitely.
How old?
I was 15 at the time. You know, so then that happened, and that was a big one. Yeah, that was 5 months off. Yeah, 5 months off the bike.
First big crash.
No, I mean not big crash. I mean first
crash. That was a real crash.
Right.
Not falling down.
Right.
Yeah, airlifted.
Yeah, airlifted out. So like first big like crash like that.
Yeah.
So I was off the bike for about, I think 5 to 6 months. But then in that time, you know, it was nonstop. It was, when can I get back on the bike? You know, but you know, that was one thing with the injuries that happened with us is never got back on the bike too soon, to where you see a lot of that happen to other people that get back on a motorcycle too soon and they end up getting hurt again. You know, so we took the time.
You're going through a lot of a toll on your body. You know, like I feel like people don't really understand it unless they've rode motorcycles. You know, that's it's hard to relate, but yeah.
But at the same time, you know, you can take that and transfer it to other parts of life. You know, which is kind of like how I do now. You know, it's like I've taken, you know, the drive that I had with motocross and everything, and now I put it towards what I'm doing now, and so it all kind of ties into each other. But you know, as far as going back to the trials and tribulations, you know, it's you have that injury or whatever, and you know, you just had that vision of getting back on the bike, and that's all I wanted to do. So it's, you know, once I got the okay, I would go back in the gym. You know, there's been times where me and Rob were in the gym, and you know, I was in a cast, and he was literally like handing me the weights, you know, because I couldn't get up and grab them, so he'd hand them to me, and then, you know, do our thing and then leave. It's
literally in a cast at the gym.
And this is at 15 years old.
Yeah, like he broke. What was it? Your femur or something like that?
Yeah, the femur. I think I was 17 at the time.
17, when I broke my femur. A little bit older,
so,
but he literally broke his femur, and this like. Was it a super long cast? Was it?
Well, femur, you gotta be,
Yeah, it was like a super long, but like, okay, well, my legs are kind of shot right now. So, you know, everything else works. So I kind of spit a little bit, sorry. But you know, I'm going to get after it. I'm going to and most people are just hung up. Right. And the vision, the drive was still there for him, which I think is so powerful. Like, did someone teach you that? Did someone what was that? Like, was your dad like, hey, you better...
No, that was the thing. My dad never put pressure on me at all whatsoever. It was, you know, he put it on the table, you know, like I said, he'll take it as far as you want to go. And, you know, it was the vision I had that I wanted to be a professional motocross racer. So, you know, it's when I was hurt, you know, every time I got hurt, I got back on the bike. I was faster than I was before, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that was just because of the preparation that went into it, whether it was in the gym, the mentals part of it, you know, it was... The preparation, that's everything, really.
And we'd go to the track too, and like I feel like a lot of people didn't really do that much, right? Like Did you see that a lot? Like,
I mean,
these kids, I feel like a lot of the kids were like super scrawny, and Bryce is there, like filled out and like on the bike. You know
really going for it at 17 when these other guys are just riding and not doing the extracurricular.
Yeah.
Did your dad go through any adversity? Do you remember Pops as like, whether he had 2 jobs, whether it was like, man, he's gone through a BK, like what? And I ask because the drive that I have, I wasn't always as ambitious and motivated as I am, but my dad, looking back, I didn't realize it then. My dad had multiple jobs. He tried to be self-employed. He got a truck stolen, still tried to do that job, and stay self-employed. Like, do you remember your dad? Yeah. Do you remember your dad doing anything, like any adversity or going through things?
I wouldn't say like that, but he was always there for us, because whether it was, because I'm now an iron worker, which he was, and, I look at it now, I'm like, man, that's pretty crazy. He'd go to work, and he was, at the time, before I was racing, he was teaching soccer. He'd come home, he'd coach soccer, coach my sister's teams, coach my teams, and it's like all on the side. So it's like, it shows us, that he was there, and, it's while doing a full-time job, working overtime and, still making it happen. So I think that's kind of helped, show me that the competitive side of him, and obviously that I wanted to. There was always competition, I was saying he never let me win, so that was kind of like a thing that we'd always try to one up each other. So I think that's kind of, I would feed off that, and then just the want and the drive. That,
even with me too, like same thing. Like when I'd hang out with them, like same thing, would let us win.
Wow, it stresses the importance too of, and we won't go down this road, but of having parents that, whether it's support you or just having your parents around, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just supporting him. And if you have a parent there, they're going to support you in what you're good at, right? Mm-hmm. They may not be as supportive as his parents or any of our parents, but just the importance of having someone that really like, okay, you want to ride dirt bikes? Let's do it. Some people want to ride dirt bikes, but they don't have the parents that have the means to support them, or even don't emotionally and verbally support them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because the parent's not there, or the parent's too busy. So, your dad didn't make excuses, bro. Your dad had 3 jobs. He was an iron worker, like almost 3.5. He worked overtime, you said. He coached soccer, then your dirt bikes. Like, there was no excuses for him. So that was, his form of what I'm talking about with my dad. So it's like, you've got this grit in our parents, and they say this generation of, our generation, it's just different. So you got to respect your pops, man, that he supported you to the lengths that he did.
Oh, definitely. And I, hope to give my daughter, I now have a beautiful 1.5-year-old daughter, and
she's amazing. She's
give her give her everything that I could possibly give her. That's the goal. So
nice.
That's awesome. So going back, like, because there was a pivotal moment where you made this transition from riding motocross to now becoming an iron worker. Like, how did that happen? Just for the people that don't know, because there was that transition. You were gonna go to A1. You were training for that. Had another little crash, and then there was this shift. So kind of what happened.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up getting my pro license in 2013, and then I was preparing for the Supercross at A1, and ended up having a little mishap and getting hurt, and then you start looking at the financial hardship, and then just the future. And motocross is a very tough sport to make it in. And get
expensive.
Yeah, very. It's a very expensive sport to do. That's I give respect to my family for all that, but in the end, it's financially hard on the family as well as emotionally with injuries and stuff. But how to look in the long run. I was looking, for the future and, what I wanted, because there's a select few that make it and they do make a good living. But a lot of them, you're putting out more money than you're getting back. And that's pretty hard to do when you're getting older and
you're traveling, you're doing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, even growing up, you traveling, like before Loretta's and all that stuff, like,
Right.
you had those races, like points to get or whatever before Loretta's, like you were gone for.
Yeah, you're all over, and that's
you're gone.
What I had to do in order, to make it there. And that's kind of why I had to go homeschool route, which we didn't want to, like you're saying, but, they didn't want to work with us, and just missing too much school, you had to do it. But that all worked out. So the transition period, it was tough. It's something I didn't want to do. I mean, I made the choice in the end, but it was definitely a hard decision. I just wanted to look at toward my future and, making a career, in the motocross, or you know, the livelihood.
Well,
and then
you hit on it too. Like you just said, like that. It's tough because there's a lot of other sports that make a ton of money. You know, baseball, like just the average player is making what I don't even know the number, but probably a couple $100,000 a year. You know what I mean? Like people are literally paying money to do these races because they don't have sponsorships, because they don't have like it sucks. You know what I mean? Like, and so I just think that's crazy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
and you know, that's when I started realizing it's like you can still make it, you know, say in a Supercross, a main event, and you're still gonna walk out there potentially with a negative, and you could be top, you could top 20, you know, professional racer, and you can still walk out of that night with a negative, and that's, to me, that's insane. You know,
top 20.
You know,
in the U.S.
And they have, you know, other sports that are making millions of dollars sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
You know, so it's, you know, it's kind of frustrating. It's definitely
world.
frustrating, you know. So, but you know, I wouldn't change it for, you know, anything in the world, because it made me who I am today, and you know, the competitive side, and a lot of grit came out of it. You know,
Of course. I mean, all the setbacks, and then you know, coming back stronger each time. But I wanted to go. So like, how did that transition go? Like, did you just, you know, stop and then you started ironworking the next day, or what? Because even ironworking is a process of getting in, of, you know, the apprenticeship and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. I wasn't like forced to get an ironwork. You know, I had the option. I could either go to school or, you know, or get a job and start work. And at the time, you know, obviously school wasn't the most exciting thing I wanted to do. And so I was like, all right, well, I can go make some money. And so I became an iron worker. And, you know, now I'm here today. What is it? Almost 6 years. Yeah. Almost 5.5 years. Yeah. Something like that. Almost 6 years. So into ironwork, and, you know, I've journeyed out and everything. So I'm now a journeyman. And then, yeah, so it's crazy.
That's awesome.
Wow. So did you find, like, well, did you ever make any money in Supercross? Did you ever get to the point, even whether it was $100 for a gig? Obviously, maybe you were negative come the end of the day, right? Because you didn't fully, you know, and you got injured. But did you ever make any money?
You make a little bit here, but not nearly like what you're putting out. You know, so that's kind of was like the turning point, is like, all right, you know, you're putting out this much and you're still getting money back, you know, which, you know, I went on a trip to get my pro points and went back east, you know, for like 6 weeks, did all these circuit races in order to get your pro points, and did that. And it's, it pays, but it's not nearly what you're forking out. You know? So at that point, you know, as you get older, you start seeing it. I mean, I was always aware, you know, growing up, you know, I wasn't like, all right,
naive to it.
Yeah, I'm going to go inside, play video games, you know, while my dad's working on the bikes, you know. So it's like, I knew like, all right, this broke, this cost this much money. So it was always there in the back of my mind. So that's kind of also a reason what made me work so hard as well, is like, I knew what was going into it. So in the end, it was like, all right, you know, I got to make this happen.
Yeah.
So
I see it as he was working for free. Like, you got a lot of people that just take the normal path. You graduate high school, what do? You go to college, you know what I mean? Like, I saw something recently where they were like, imagine if that 4 years you just went and worked for someone for free, right? And then whether you work for someone for free, the experience you get, or let's just say you go, you know, to college and do the 4-year thing, but it's insane where he literally just worked for free on his passion. And when he was working on his passion, so free wasn't really a big deal. And at the end of the day, I don't know how old you were when you know, came over to ironworking, but like, people are so scared in their 16 to 21-year-old life. Like, I've got to make the decision now. Try all this shit. Try dirt bike riding. Try fucking racing a trophy truck. Try all of it, because the easy thing is you go back to the normal 9 to 5 or that other job that, you know, you could have attempted to get earlier, but you know, you bet on yourself. It didn't work, and at the end of the day, his business, his parents were investing in a business. I see that. Like, we invest in our business, Physics More Group. Parents invested in the business, and the business, quote unquote, failed, right? You got hurt and you're not doing it. Right. So one, that's like parents like, oh man, we did all that, you know, but they're still persevering. Like, they're still positive about it. And then you didn't let that keep you down. Like, okay, I'm pivoting. It didn't work. And now you're kicking ass there, and you know, you want the other gig that you're going to get soon. But what a trip, you know what I mean? The sacrifice, the money, all of that for the passion. nobody ever even attempts their passion, bro.
Yeah.
You know,
let alone like is willing to lose money for it. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy.
Yeah. They went all in. And that's respectful. That is cool. He went all in on his time because that's all he had when he was younger. Yep. Parents went all in with time and money, and it didn't work out, but they're still there.
And so get this too, like even when you went to ironworking, you had another accident too, right? So like literally just having adversity after adversity and still sticking with it. And I think that is another thing that like people miss too. Like they face that adversity, they face that wall and they quit. You know what I mean? And it was just the perseverance, like, you know, until now he has his own house. He's crushing it. He's doing it, you know? So I just think that's huge too. Right.
Right. You know, I mean, like things in life, you know, trials and tribulations, like I was saying, it comes up and, you know, you fail and you get back up. It's like, you know, you fall 5 times, you're going to get up 6, you know, and it's like, it becomes a point. It's like, I should say when, I'm trying to how to put it, you know, it's, you know, no matter
when is the break going to happen?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. You know, but it's like, even when you do hit that wall, it's like, you still got to get over it. You know what I mean? That's a point where some people fall and, you know, they stay in the dirt, or you get back up and keep fighting.
Keep going.
Yeah. Get better, you know, let your problems make you better, you know, in the end, you know.
What's the age you're going to put your daughter on a dirt bike?
Yeah. As soon as she'll let me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I put her on my lap, I don't know, about 2 months ago, and she
doing wheelies down the street.
Yeah, she hated it.
She did?
Yeah. But I think it was the noise thing.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, she'll get used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you have a built bike now or what?
No, actually they're still all blown up. I just got a little pit bike for her. You know, I'll sit on it, put her on it, let her ride. But I mean, I can't wait for the day to get her on a motorcycle, only if she wants to. You know, that's one of the things. You know, my parents never forced me to do anything in life. So I don't want to enforce her to do anything. You know, if she wants to ride a motorcycle, all for it. If she doesn't, you know, so be it. You know, so.
It's funny. I went over to his house and he had a bike there. I'm like, dude, let's go riding. And it's blown up still.
No.
Yeah. Like, well, think about it. Like even racing, like how many bikes did you have at one time?
I mean, 85s when we were younger, we had
85.
I think we had seven
at one time.
Seven bikes
at one time.
And I just wanted one when I was a kid.
You know how
bro.
expensive that is?
Yeah.
How much was one
time.
bike? $6,000?
At the time, I think they were, they're 85s. I think they were like four or five. By the time you put, you know, the modifications into them and everything, it's like
5.
Yeah.
You know
so I mean, and then at the time, you know, we'd have these bikes, but we'd have, you know, two, 3 running, you know, just because it was like a giant cycle, and it was insane, you know, just.
Literally one's blown up. That one gets put to the side.
Yeah.
We'll, you know, use the parts or whatever from this one to try to fix it. And then we have 2 practice bikes and a race bike or something. Right.
And then, just a full parts bike that you'd steal from whatever you need. I mean, I still have a parts bike, actually.
That's funny.
Do you have any of your old bikes, the 85s?
Not the 85s. I have a 450 and a 250F.
That would be cool if he kept like one of the old 85s, you know, that he used to ride. That'd be rad.
Yeah.
There's people have like straight shrines of all the bikes, dude.
Really?
That they've rode. Yeah. Professional riders and stuff.
Yeah,
dude.
they keep them and
deck them out.
Right. Put them in the showroom.
Yeah. Showroom just sits there.
Yeah.
Collects dust. Big present.
So how old were you when you got into steel?
20 years old. Yeah.
20. Wow.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
26.
26.
Yeah.
So get into it at 20. When did you retire basically from Supercross? Was it right at 20 as well?
Yeah, right at 20. Mm-hmm. You know, I was preparing for the season when I was 20 years old, and right when I was turning 20, I was 19 at the time, and then turning 20, and that's when I decided, you know, the accident happened, and I decided to put it on the side and, you know, looked in the future, and then that's when I made the choice of, you know, because Ironwork was always there. You know, it was always, you know, plan A, motocross. You know, obviously that's what I put everything into. And then if it doesn't work out, all right, you have plan B, you know, Ironwork, you know, so it was always there.
How did the decision come about? Did you sit down? Like, were you kind of depressed going through it because that was your dream?
I mean, obviously, yeah, I was depressed, you know, when it happened. But in the end, it was like an ultimate, just a life goal, you know, that I wanted to be a motocross racer, you know, and, you know, put everything into it. And then when you make the decision to, you know, you have to you know, yeah, I mean, I still think, man, that'd be awesome to be racing right now. But I mean, you know, I still, you know, I have an amazing life right now, you know, a fiance and a little girl, and it's great, you know. So I mean, in the end, you know, racing was, you know, my life, but you know, I moved on, and yeah, I mean, it sucked having to put that on the, you know, on the shelf, but you know, you learn to move on and then grow from it, you know. And that was the thing that I felt like I benefited from, you know, because I took everything I did from racing, you know, I mean, because it was a whole, you know, regimen, you know what I mean? It was, you know, workout, riding, clean, you know, prep, everything, you know. Now I, you know, take that and schedule and put it into regular life, you know, with work and home, you know. So it's
what's crazy to me, like we have a morning call every day. And one morning I like woke up, or this happens all the time. I'm not saying one morning, actually. I was like, dude, I don't want to wake up. I don't want to be up right now. Like, I want to be sleeping. And then I was just asking, like, hey, how many times have you like called out? You know, like what happens when you call out of ironworking? You know, he's like, yeah, I've never called out before.
Ever.
never.
I was like, wait, what? Like, I was the worst employee ever. Yeah, I felt like I was. I just didn't want to be there. You know, I was like going through the motions. I mean, the other promotional gig that I had, like I kind of wanted to be there until I started getting menial tasks that didn't mean anything. And then I was like, get me out of here. But yeah, no, going back, that just blows my mind. Like the work ethic is transferring from, you know, motocross to now his career to now, you know, potentially being a firefighter. Like the work ethic is what he learned, the you know, the experiences you went through with, you know, your accidents and the things that you've been through, like that's what you're taking along with it. Like all of this wasn't your parents may have like, you know, lost some money, you know, doing all this, but like they built a freaking warrior. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like someone that shows up every day, someone that, you know, makes things happen. So I think that is what I take away from that whole thing 100%.
Yeah.
I mean,
cause I would think there's not that many 26-year-olds that are like that. You know what I mean? Like most of them ain't even showing up. Go
ask 99% of people, or 100, I would say, if they've called out of work one day. 100%, 99% of people are going to say yes, they have.
Yeah.
Like, did you at that age? Like
26?
No, but I mean, how old were you? You said 20.
Yeah.
So 20 to 26 haven't called out. Haven't woke up and said, I feel like shit. I'm not.
I was lazy. I just had dead end jobs. He went straight to an industry that's a freaking profession. You know what I mean? I've worked at every little job. So whether I gave myself an excuse, but yeah, I was lazy. I wasn't the worst. Like you said, I was the worst employee. I wasn't the worst employee. You know, I was the guy that always said yes, you know, to whatever gig it was. But I've had so many jobs, but he went into a career.
Yeah.
You know,
and those guys
he grew up quick.
Well, what is it like? I mean, I feel like a lot of people don't know, like ironworking, like it's some hard stuff. Like you're lifting iron, man. Like they're building buildings with that stuff, right?
You're right. I mean, it's the structural like skeleton of the building, really. You know, so it's, you know, you're using a crane, you're using your body. I mean, it's hands down, you're just beating your body up all day long. You know, there's nothing around it, but you know, the wear and tear, you know, it for sure happens, but
people die out there, man. Like,
right. You know, that's the one,
it's crazy.
You know, that's the one tragic thing about the trade is it does happen. And, you know, it does suck, you know, cause as much as I hate to say it is you don't know, you know, what's going to happen that day. I mean, that goes with everything, but I mean, at the end it's, you know, it's a dangerous career but you know, it does put food on the table and, you know.
Are you ever fearful at work because there's bigger gig, like you got a small gig and a job site or whatever, and you got the bigger ones? Like, how do you deal with fear when you're
walking like 10 stories up?
I'm guessing are you the guy that's walking up real high?
Oh yeah,
on these beams and all that.
Yeah, on the beams you're walking around up there. So
how do you deal with fear at times? Like,
I mean,
when's the last time you were fearful at work?
Like
experience that you remember, like, oh, that was pretty damn scary. Not a normal one where I'm a little scared, but
right. I mean, nothing really sticks out like tremendously, but I mean, every day, you know,
thought.
Yeah, it crosses your mind, you know. I mean, you're up there, you know, you look down and of course, you know, it crosses your mind here and there.
And the beams are like yay big.
So I'm guessing you got to go through, daily preparation, daily safety meetings.
Right.
It's like every morning, I'm guessing at a certain time, you guys chat about the day, safety. Is it?
Yeah.
The preparation to go in something so dangerous is just like dirt bike riding. Like there's preparation before you get on the damn bike every time.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, they tell you, you know, but I mean, now there's so much safety involved in ironwork. It's not like how it was, you know, when, you know, my granddad and pops were in there, you know, there was no such thing as tying off, you know. Now you have to be tied off 100%, you know what I mean? So it's totally different now, and the preparation, like you're saying, that goes into to prevent the injuries, you know, but it still does happen, you know, as much as we hate to say it.
When in your
That's an adrenaline rush for sure.
In your opinion, when someone does get hurt or die, what do you think the reason is?
I mean,
is it laziness trying to cut a corner, or is it they just?
I mean,
because I used to be in construction.
Right. Yeah, I've kind of heard. I heard actually the other podcast about it. Yeah, a little bit. So, no, I mean, yeah, you could say cut corners, or you know, it just happens. You know, as much as you hate to say it, you know, I've got hurt, obviously. So, you know, it's something I've done 1,000 times, and you know, the one time bit me. You know, so, yeah.
Like, how did that happen? Like, you just
because sometimes people get complacent in things, and then you know something's so monotonous, and they do this all the time, and then they're not thinking about it because it's a process they've done every time. Mm-hmm. It's not luck or bad luck. You know, there's something to it. Was there something to it when you got in your accidents in dirt bikes? Was there complacency or like, oh, I've always hit this triple, bro? Like, I don't.
Right.
Was there anything that you remember? Like, damn, I kind of was too comfortable doing that when I didn't stick to my basics.
Right. You know, I mean, I for sure know what you're talking about, the complacency thing, but at the same time, it's like simple little mistakes, you know, especially on a motorcycle, it's just one tiny move and it costs you, you know,
you're down.
Yeah, huge injury. And, you know, by that split second, it's too late, you know? So I think, you know, it's just I'd say just the quick reactions, you know, that could have maybe prevented something, or, you know, the thinking ahead, or, you know, or something, you know. But
I mean, like you said, though, it's crazy. Like, it could be the same thing you do every day, but, you know, one little thing is off, and then, you know, things go bad.
Big time.
Yeah, you know, so driving a car, you know, it's like, you know, you don't even think about, sometimes, you know, you're driving home and you're just like, you get home and you're like, man, how did I just get home right now?
100%.
Yeah.
For sure.
100.
I think that complacency is probably a lot of the things, because you think about what we do on a daily, we're going to get stressed or something. Like, stress for him can be life or death at times. You know, or big time physical injuries.
Hanging
like
off the side of a building.
Yeah. Like that's why for me, perspective is huge, because, you know, if I don't close a deal, or we take 2 extra days, or we don't close today because it's Friday and the client doesn't get their keys till Monday, I'm going to think of this guy like ironworker, like, dude, this isn't life or death.
Yeah. Like,
you know what I mean? Like,
what blows my mind, I want to add to this real quick, because I was talking to your dad when we were doing that work in your house, and he was like, yeah, that was like my adrenaline rush. He's like, I'd enjoy going to work every day because it was like kind of badass, you know, like I don't know how many stories he was up.
Right.
Do you know?
What?
Like the highest.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a picture. Yeah, there's a picture of him, like, I think it's 55 up on like a 4-inch tube steel, you know?
No.
Yeah.
Tied off?
No. Yeah, that time, no tie off. Just,
what?
You know.
They used to get like adrenaline rush from just doing that, which is crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Like, that gives me the chills thinking about it. Like, dude, I look down, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. What's the highest you've been?
They're 22 floors.
22?
Yeah.
Your dad was double that, bro.
Right. Yeah.
You're weak compared to your pop.
Exactly. He's making like no big deal either.
Is it a big difference going from like 10 to 20?
Oh yeah.
Is it like, whoa?
Well, like, as you gradually go up, you know, it's like you're used to it, like you're saying, the complacency, so it's not so bad as going from like 0 to 20. You know? So it's totally different, but you know, yeah, it's.
Imagine like the guys doing like the World Trade Center and stuff like that. Like, that would be insane.
Do you remember when you first went up high, like, you know, 1-2 stories? That's nothing, but because, you know, you were 20 when you started.
Right.
I don't know how long it took you to then do a job where you were 5 or 10 stories up. Do you remember that?
What? Yeah, a little bit, but like you're saying, like, it's gradually going, so like you build up to it, and then you're like, oh, okay, it's not that bad, you get used to it, and then
And then it's the norm.
Right.
You know, and then that 50 comes and he's scared. So always pushing that limit. Like we talked about a while back with fear, and your girl being an RN. Everybody was fearful when COVID first hit, but your girl had to go to work every day and be in the face of COVID. And then at some point she was like, okay, I'm not scared anymore. This is norm. I got my mask. People have it. I haven't died yet. I haven't got it. But then there's a new fear, a new 55 stories because there's another outbreak or another version of it. You know what I mean? So that's why I always say, man, the more adversity you've gone through, whether it's so small as a kid, to the bigger things, like your girl turned non-fearful, and then that's her new par and precedence. For him, 25 stories is his new, that's the norm, bro. He's not even scared doing that. Now when he gets to whatever the next one is, you know, he's going to have a new fear minimum or whatever it's called, but I don't think enough kids new threshold. Yeah. I don't think enough kids have enough of that adversity, bro, like uncomfortableness.
But I think that goes with anything, you know, not just like your work, but like with your business, for instance, right? Like you make a big sale and you're like, yeah, that was good. That was like stretching my pockets out, you know, trying to pay for all this. And then, you know, you get the next one, it's bigger. Like it's across the board. Or my running, same thing. You know, like I hit 20 miles, like, damn, like what is 26 going to feel like? What is, 60 going to feel like? And it's like, you just got to keep, pushing that barrier. And yeah, I just think that's huge. And you're doing that in a different field too, which is crazy.
Right. And then, everyone could transfer that over to their own field. You know what I mean? So that's like the biggest picture, it's like.
And I feel like you're starting to see that more because you're doing that, right?
Right. So it's like happens here. Well, then why don't you take, that mistake or that lesson, into this, you know what I mean? So you don't make the same mistake or have to go through it again, so that you kind of transfer over, to different trades or, however, whether it be someone's different career or their lifestyle, so that's what I think is a huge help.
100%, man.
How long ago did you make the decision to get into, or to attempt to get in the field for firefighter?
Well, I started going out to college, while working full time, started that two years ago.
That's another story.
Yeah. So
what is the school or the two jobs? That's two jobs right there. Actually, three with the daughter.
Yeah.
You're right.
And that's what I'm saying is like, it's crazy. Like what his dad was doing, he's doing
in his own version
now. And like not sleeping, like we'd have our calls like 3 hours of sleep, just like zombie, and then climbing up on.
And we got soft people that work 8, 9, 10 hours a day. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
And this guy's putting himself out there doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you've put yourself in front of adversity every time, because I'm guessing you're making good money. You got in at 20, which means I think there's probably a time where you vest in and you could probably retire at 50, younger than most.
Right.
For the people that didn't, like I got into construction, I was probably like 26. So I would be 6 years behind you but you're putting yourself out there again. School, 1, you got to pass it. And then 2, attempting to get in a brand new field. You know what I mean? So you're putting yourself in the face of challenges all the damn time.
Knowing nothing.
Yeah.
And how what was that process like?
Well, I knew I always wanted to be a firefighter. Like that's an awesome job, that looks, exciting, I mean, every day you don't know what you're going to get. So, but I never thought it was a realistic goal. I always heard, you have to have, someone in it. You have to have a dad or, that's all I've heard, throughout, my whole life. So I never thought, and then one day I just realized, I'm like, who am I to say that someone has to be, of my family in it in order to get in? So then that's when I looked up what I had to do, reached out to, a mentor that really helped me out. And he,
mentor. Always talk about it.
I like that. Keep going though.
Yeah. So he, cause I really, you look up online, there's 1,000 ways to do it. And, each one has a different route. So, I really reached out to him and he, put me on a path and, said, this is what you need to do. And basically set my eyes on it. And that's what I did. And you signed up for school, still working full time. I'd take, about 3 classes, about 3 classes a semester. Just, all nights, mostly online, just so I can, still work full time, even if it was overtime, and still pass my classes and do well in school. So,
and then have your family.
Yeah. So while this was going on, then my fiance, pregnant with our daughter. And then we actually had her, Kinsley, and the week of, I was sending a fire academy. So you have to have prerequisites to get into the fire academy. Went through Rio Hondo College, did all that, and then got into the fire academy, and ended up being the same exact time I was having a daughter. So,
so you pull out and get out?
No.
Oh,
no. So
all in, baby.
Yeah. So the day of orientation, well, here's another story. So my fiance was, in labor for 52 hours.
52 hours.
Yes.
So now wife's going through adversity.
Yeah. So that was nuts, So she had to get induced, and then basically went from the hospital, or my daughter was born, and the next day I had orientation for the fire academy. So went from the hospital, had my suit, put my suit on, drove in, went to orientation, did all that. It was a day there, and then came straight back to the hospital and seeing her. And then the next, I think that was on a Wednesday, and then the next week the fire academy started on Monday, and it was a full 3 months, every day from, I think it was 6 to
with a newborn.
Yeah, by the time it was basically 5 to 5, with a newborn. So for 3 months, and that was
brutal.
That was brutal.
Yeah.
It was one of those things. I just did everything I could. I wanted everything. Didn't want to make any excuses for anything. So I said I was going to do it, and it was tough. And hats off to my fiance for letting me sleep while I needed the sleep while I was going to fire academy, so I could
sleep that you had.
Yeah, so I could put everything into it, and it was rough, but I'm thankful I went through with it, and didn't look back.
2 things, man. And I'm just going to say them both, and I just don't want to forget it. Mentor. So did you know the mentor? How did that work out? How'd you present it? How'd you ask them? Because that's what we've talked to people. You want to get into something new, stop making fucking excuses and go reach out to a few mentors. Talk to people who know other people. We've talked about
who done what you want to do, or
we've talked about
doing it, right?
Trying to open up a new business here recently, and we're like, okay, so now I'm asking people who I know aren't in that industry if they know other people in the industry. You have to be intentional. And then 2, what can you do, or is there anything you can do to one up yourself against all the people that are trying to do exactly what you're trying to do? Like, is there experience that you can do? Is there this extra class that you could do, like this extra credit? Like, how do you one up the other people so when you are and get your at bat that you're going to be the guy that they pick?
Okay.
So
yeah.
2 questions. Sorry.
You're right. No. So
the first question, the mentor. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, the mentor.
I kind of got lost.
Yeah. So I basically, he's a firefighter. He's doing really well, and I reached out to him.
Is he a friend of yours?
Yes. He's a family friend.
Family friend.
Yeah. Family
older
friend.
than you?
Yes. He's what? 4 years? Yeah, 4 years older.
4 years older.
29,
Yeah.
30.
No, yeah, maybe like 6 years older. Yeah, something like that. So I reached out to him because, I knew he's a firefighter doing quite well, and just wondered how he went about doing it, because like I was saying, there's a bunch of ways to do it, and it was one of those things I was mind boggled. I looked up things to go this way, and then another one said to go this way, so I would literally my hands were tied behind my back. So I reached out to him, and he really, sat me down, and I asked questions, and he answered them straightforward and, the honest truth. And that was probably the biggest thing is, there was no BS, it was basically, this is what you need to do if you want to be here, so that's when I buckled down, and that was like the biggest help right there is,
a mentor.
Yeah, exactly. Because like you're saying, you're blind, you guys are talking about the business thing that you're going to start. You guys are in the blind too, so that's kind of what I've really learned from is reaching out and not being scared to reach out, because like for me, I'm really stubborn, hard-headed. So like for me to reach out it's hard for me. I don't know, not hard, but it's not in my norm.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I've learned, that you have to, and then in order, I would say maybe to speed up the process, or to help you out and so you don't make mistakes.
Yeah.
So I think that's a huge help. And then
so you got the roadmap, and then you just went all in. So I think that's something to say too. Like, most people get advice and then they don't do anything
with it.
Yeah, they don't do anything with it. And you got the advice and went all in, and I'm sure the person that gave you the advice is like pumped, stoked, like, damn, this kid's doing it.
Hopefully.
Most people don't though. You know what I mean? So that's the step, which is good. But what was the second
The other question was, because you're in competition, right? So you finished your I don't know what the process is. You finished your academy, and let's just say there's 1,000 people, in California that finished the academy, and positions open up as they come because it's such a limited industry. I'm guessing,
Right.
Like you got these old timers that are firemen, so you got to get a couple to retire or die off, and then there's a shot for all of the U's out there. Is there anything that you can do to be a better candidate than the next guy, the next Bryce that you're competing against to be that fireman in whatever station?
Yeah, I mean, I would just definitely say whether it be schooling, obviously more classes,
more
education, being more knowledgeable, hands down, and then also physical fitness. They want the fit person that's gonna, if something does go south, someone's gonna pull them out of a fire. That's physical fitness, but also, the one thing that I feel like could definitely help is now you're getting kids that are book smart, which is great, but also, they go, like you're saying, they go to college, get out of high school, go to college. They may not have had a job or work, whatever, but to where actually my trade has significantly helped because to me, it's taught me, there's 10 ways to do something. And sometimes
No, I was just going to say, like, I just, another experience, like, I forget what we were tying down, but he had like 10 ways to tie a knot. And I was like, dude, I don't even know how to tie one knot. And this guy showed me like 10 different ways to do it.
I know.
And I was like, I forget what was it? I was like,
it was at the lake.
Was it the lake?
When the tow rope broke.
Oh, got it. Yeah. And you were just like, oh, let me do it. I was like, what the heck is that? And he's like, yeah, that's how we tie things down. But like simple skills like that, like I think are 10 times more valuable than going to school and reading
how to do the
books,
knot.
how to do the knot.
Right.
Yeah.
He's living the industry that's teaching him that stuff.
And that's the one thing that bugs me about like certain companies or certain, like, let's say it's a fire department. If their curriculum is like, you need to have a, BA or a bachelor's in this or whatever, like it's just absolutely ludicrous, to be honest. Don't you want someone that knows what the hell they're doing versus can tell you what to do? And you know what I mean? Like there's a difference between book smart and there's a difference between practical knowledge that you've learned in a trade, and you know what I mean? And then, yeah, it kind of bugs me, but I'll just go down that tangent.
So are you still on the path to, are you finished school?
I still am going to
still
class.
in school.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I like it. I want to think
what extra class, right?
How do we expedite like him becoming a fireman? Dude?
Yeah,
like, he's got to finish the classes and then like, can I go fight fires? Just I go.
But that's what I hear is like the resume though on the kid, like professional athlete, hands down should be, you know what I mean? Like no one understands unless you're a professional athlete what it takes to be there. Mm-hmm. Unless you were a freak athlete too, you know what I mean? Like most people aren't that and put a lot of hard work and effort into becoming that. So like the discipline, the time, like it's all there.
I've heard you can volunteer to be like, once you have all your credentials, you can volunteer at a fire station.
Yes. Yeah. You can start volunteering your time and everything. And
are there a lot of those around?
Here and there, but you still have to like apply to be a volunteer as well.
Because they're probably stacked with people as well.
Right.
Yeah. Everyone wants to volunteer, right?
Yeah. And then, one thing that I've like really learned, especially from racing and everything, was trusting the process, so you put the time in and you obviously continue to put the time in, but you trust the process, because I was like with racing, I was, behind the 8 ball by starting at the age of 12, getting serious about it when kids have been starting at the age of 4, that's all they've known. Mm-hmm. So it's like one of those things, you start it and just trust the process. It sounds so cliche, but in the end, I really feel like it's beneficial. Because like you'll go through, the lumps and everything, but if you stay with it and then eventually, it'll pay off, but like you're saying, how to expedite the process,
How much more time do you have in your classes? Like,
I have to do about 3 more.
Three more semesters?
Yeah, 3 more generals to get my A, and then, whether I want to do a bachelor's after that or go about it. But definitely, with my daughter, it's kind of, I want to say, slowed down the schooling process on top of work, because prior when I was going to school, I didn't have my daughter as well, at the same time. So it's like, it's hard to find the balance, when you want to get home from work, you want to invest everything into her, and, your family. But, that's one of the hard things to do is finding balance,
Yeah.
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
early on in business for me, I didn't have a lot of balance. So I've been fortunate enough that the balance is okay because I have no kids. I'm not married and I have a girlfriend. But for me, I knew I was off balance and people told me you're off balance. And I'm just like, fuck it. I'm going hard. And you have to be aware of obviously your fiance and then your child, you know, so you're going to have sacrifices.
You have a team.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And
it takes a team to, you know, to build. You know, that's a huge part of it too.
Yeah.
I love it. This is awesome. Yeah. I mean, do you have any other questions you wanted to dive into?
No, man. I love the story. Love.
Yeah. The one thing that I just think that it stands out for me, just because I know you, I've trained with you, like we talk all the time. We're great friends. Like the whole trust the process, like really stands out because I've always known you, like you just put your head down and work, right, man. And I think that is just so huge. Most people, like even myself, I ask too many questions. I like want to know the ins and outs, and like it's about hard work, man. It's about putting the hours in, you know, perfecting your craft. Like the only reason, like all of your experiences have lined up for you be successful in your future career. And it's going to happen, but it's just going to take that time and trusting the process.
You're right. And I think you can kind of relate to that because, I mean, look at physics, you know, obviously, you know, I mean, it started from high school clothing, you know, and look at it now. I mean, this place is awesome. You know, obviously, you know, I don't know much about the Moore group, but
I've thought about, like quitting and stuff too, multiple times. We talked about it, and it was just like, no, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with it.
Right.
And then eventually,
you had a vision.
Yeah. But like going through that adversity, I'm sure you had it too when you got hurt. Like, it's like, do I really want to do this again? And then it's like, you know what? No, it's like one day of, do I want to do this again? And then it's back on, all right, this is what I'm going to, you know, I'm here to do.
Right.
So
trust the process, dude.
I love it
right there.
That's it.
That's a takeaway
for yourself too.
Yeah, man.
You've been through some shit too.
I trust the process too much, dude. and I've learned to love the process. Like, I've been in the eye of the storm or in the process, and I've literally thought to myself, this is going to be fucking part of my story. I already know. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with, you know, not having any money in my bank account and borrowing something from somebody, because I know at the end of the day I'm gonna make it work, and this is gonna be part of my story to tell someone, bro. So I've fallen so much in love with the process that I know what my end result is. You know, I might take a little longer than someone else because I'm learning the things, but you know, for me, my dad still tells me till this day, like, man, you could have been in pro football. You could have been a quarterback, you know? And I think to myself, like, man, I could have been making millions, bro, if I was decent, maybe a third string, bro. Sometimes third strings get the shot. Yeah. But then I think to myself, that was just part of my journey. Like, football and being a quarterback allowed me to be his version of the grit and going through adversity. But now, you know my story, man. Mine is impacting people. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know if I could have impacted as many people being a quarterback of a third string quarterback of some football team, right? Yeah. So it was never about money for me. But yeah, you've got to trust the process, man. And when you don't trust the process, hopefully there are people around you that instill, like, no, you got this, dude. Your parents were the ones for that. I'm guessing your wife is your you know, team when you don't trust the process, because there's going to be times that we don't. There's going to be times that we don't want to wake up for work. Exactly. Wake up and get into the process, you know, but at the end of the day, he's going to be a fireman. Mm-hmm. Stop saying that you might be. You're going to be a fucking fireman.
No, he does. When I talk to him on the phone, it's always like when it happens. Nice. It's never like, I always hear him say that. I'm like, damn, hell yeah.
He believes in it.
Yeah.
And he's putting it out there.
Yeah. It's like, it's not if, it's when. I think that's what he told me. It's not if, it's when.
Yeah. I always like that one, because everyone's like, oh, if this, if that. No, it's not if, you know, if you trust the process, and it's when, you know, if you put everything into it, you know, no shortcuts, and just do your thing, do your work, it's when, you know, so.
Yeah.
I love that.
Cool.
All right, bro, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah. Well, Bryce, thank you for joining us today, man, and letting us be a part of your journey and telling us your stories. You know, guys, as always, our biggest takeaway right now is trust the process. Just as he did, the adversities that Bryce has gone through, He persevered and kept going, which is why we do this podcast. That's why we call it Unstoppable Library. So, be like Bryce, speak it into existence, be unstoppable and trust the fucking process. Have a great day. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you guys can follow us.
Subscribe
YouTube at Unstoppable Library on Instagram. And we'd love to hear from you. Or if you guys need a mentor or want to reach out for anything, we are here to support you guys.
Help.
Have a great day. Thanks, Bryce.
Right on. Thank you guys.
See you, Bryce.